Today, we improve on simplicity. Hello, today we're looking at how we can make the railroad range box van a little more couth. It looks a little bit basic, and after doing a little bit of research, it became apparent that it doesn't particularly look like any LNER box vans that I could find. And after even more digging, it looked to be an almost dead ringer for a GWR V23 mink van. So with only minor alterations, we could make ourselves a pretty decent little model, and it shouldn't take us too long or cost too much either. A win-win, as some scholars call it. Before we start, I'll cover what you'll need to do this transformation. Well, you need the van to begin with, some 20 gauge wound guitar string, which if I'm honest is a little bit thin, so maybe a little bit bigger would work out well, but I'm not into guitar strings, so I was a little bit out of my depth when I was doing my research on that. Some 00 gauge chain. I'm using some that I got on eBay for £1.50. It's got 2mm by 3mm links. Grey and white paint, in this case Humbrol number 5 and Humbrol 164, and some transfers. These are the GWR wagon set from HMRS. So to start with, on the prototype there is a bar running between the two axle boxes. There's a simple remedy: just take the styrene strip, cut a bit to length and glue in place, making sure you don't get any glue on the wheels or bearings. Next, we briefly turn to the buffer beam, where a short section of the guitar wire is bent round, which may require pliers for that, and then just drill a little hole and plod it in with a little bit of U-hoo to hold it in place. This is because the van that I'm using as a prototype was fitted with vacuum brakes. This van can be found on the West Somerset Railway, as this photo here shows. We then attack the model with the grey paint. It can be easy to take apart the whole model just for easier access to the lights of the chassis. Just be careful and be wary not to damage the underframe at all whilst doing this. And after waiting approximately 24 hours for it all to dry fully, have another little inspection of the model and see if there are any little areas that need touching up, and also pick out any little details that require it, such as the handbrake handle. We now return to the buffer beam, this time with a chain. As this isn't going to be load bearing at all, I don't need to worry too much about properly sorting out the hook and any compensation behind it. But instead, all I've got to do is just hook the chain on, and a little bit of glue if necessary, and we're away. Next step is the transfers. Using the photo for reference, I can now apply the transfers to their locations. If you just look between the photo and the transfer sheet, you'll see there's a lot of transfers that are actually very similar on lots of different models. And then apply these to their locations, and once this is all done, a quick coat of varnish will seal that all in. And if you're fine with weirdly clean wagons, that's where you can finish. But if you're like me and want a little bit more, reach over for the weathering powders. This will help cover up any other mistakes you've made. And then voila, we're done. We've taken a somewhat basic model, spent an evening on it, and have something that looks a bit better and will give you a small sense of pride whenever you see it. Now that that's all done, that just leaves the one last thing to do, the count. And that today stands at... Let's turn that into pounds, and that will now be donated to the 813 Fund, as they currently own and maintain a number of GWR wagons, including a couple of V23 minks. So that brings us to a close, and thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this useful and hopefully got something out of it. Maybe another project for those never-ending lists. If that's you, contemplate subscribing. If that's not you, also consider subscribing. As who knows, I may do something that's so you.